Hello and welcome to the AI Leadership Forum. This one is a little bit different for two reasons. Number one, this one is only half an hour. Usually we run for 1 hour. And usually in these forums, you see the picture of all these smart people here. Usually we interview people from different industry to understand the impact of AI into their industry. And today it's only going to be me by myself telling you about Manus because I've been using it for a while now, and I want to share my learning, and I especially want to show you some concrete example of use cases, the use cases that you want to see, the use cases that you are interested in, and show you how I deal with that and how Manus is dealing with it. So first, to set up the stage, at System in Motion, we have identified 8 brains. These are our mascots, the brainies. 8 more brains that you can use. Of course, the most important one is the 9th one, your own brain. But we see AI as giving you more abilities and giving you these additional skills and additional capabilities. So the first one on the top left is a text model. So you think about GPT, Gemini, Kimi, DeepSeek V3. The second one are image models, the ability from text to create images. The third one are search models, the ability to search the internet with help from AI, so you don't need to open every site one by one and give you a summary. Video models, the ability from static image and text to generate some movements, so generate some videos. Music models, ability from a description to generate some music with or without lyrics. Voice models, the ability from a text to generate a voiceover, to generate something that sounds like a human actually saying these words. And finally, the last two, reasoning model. So when we're talking about reasoning model, think about DeepSeek R1 or the OpenAI O series, O1 or O3. And finally, the 8th one, the one that is the topic for today, AI agents. So Manus is an AI agent. There are other solutions also on the market that we're looking at. So these are the 8 additional capabilities that are there available on the market. Most of them, you have a lot of options and you can test them for free. And it can really extend your capabilities and your ability to be creative and deliver higher and higher performance. Yeah. So what about Manus? So Manus has been created by a company called Monica. The official name for Monica is Red Butterfly Effect Paging Co. Limited, something like that. Created in 2023 with investment from Tencent. So this is the company, Monica, and Manus is their product. So it's a multimodal AI agent. It's using cloud in its international version. So if you register to Manus and you are outside of China, you'll be using cloud as the underlying text model. And it's using Quan from Alibaba inside China. So the other version or the other instance of Manus that is running in China is using a local model that is Quan. The abilities of Manus, and we'll see some of them today, it's able to browse the web, so imitate as much as possible the ability of a human to go on a website, navigate the website, understand and collect information. Manus has the ability to code, write and execute its own Python code. As a result, Manus can do data analysis, and this data analysis is coming from its ability to write data science code. It can make some decisions. We'll see probably in the use cases what kind of decisions are good. Sometimes it will ask questions to the user. Sometimes the processes will stop and Manus will say, all right, I found 2 or 3 different options. Which one do you, the user, want me to continue? It's absolutely a multi-step process. It can go more than just a prompt and an answer like a text model or image model or video model. It will design its own plan and then execute its to-do list. And this to-do list can have their own to-do list. It can really go very, very deep into a multi-step process. And it has this great feature that is the replayability, which is really good for marketing, but also good for these webinars, because I will be able today to show you some replays. I will be able to show you what Manus did for me in the past few weeks as I was testing different use cases and even some of my own tasks. And that is completely embedded in the solution. And it's also good for training. So that means you can share that to your colleagues, you can share to your friends, and they can learn from what you were able to do with Manus. Yeah. Manus is claiming a very high performance on the GAIA, which stands for Generative AI Agents benchmark. So this is a benchmark that measure the relative performance. So this benchmark will give the same task to different AI agents and assess their score. So a score on 100. Manus claims more than 65% on the benchmark. A success rate was the AI agent able to execute the task successfully until the end and give us a good result. And finally, integration with 100 tools. So it means like more than 100 ways that Manus can do and execute a task. I mentioned a few already in the previous slide. So when we look at AI agents, we look at it as what we call the third generation of AI. So the first generation of AI, they are simple text models. So the first one that came out, the first one was really the one that became popular was ChatGPT version 3.5 that everybody was starting to use. And let's call it the first mover. It was really the first mover. It was the first time that I would say general population, non-data scientists were confronted to text models and to generative AI this way. And then there were many followers. So Meta with Llama, Mistral, Grok from Twitter, XAI now, Google Gemini, just to name a few. And then something else that happened, I want to say a couple of months ago, it's what we call the demonetization. So we borrow that title from the Singularity University. By demonetization, we mean a sudden and drastic drop of cost by DeepSeek V3. But even before DeepSeek, actually Alibaba are already reduced significantly the cost of those models at an equivalent performance. Then the first mover GPT was still to this day quite expensive and also cheaper than the follower. So this was the first generation. And we see the same phenomenon in the second generation of AI. What do we call second generation of AI? These are reasoning models. So reasoning models are models that are not going to try and answer directly a prompt, the question from the user. They're going to go through steps, a simple reasoning step to execute one task and give better accuracy at a higher cost, because there's a higher computational cost to go through all these steps, because the only way a text model would generate a certain reasoning is by actually generating the task. It's like thinking out loud and writing all the reasoning that in humans would be a silent thinking. The reasoning model, they are generating that. So same thing, OpenAI was the first one, was the first mover to put in place O3 quite expensive and O1 quite expensive, and then O3. There were followers, so Anthropic followed, and Google Gemini starting at 2.5 Pro followed with their own reasoning model. And the same two actors demonetize the concept of a reasoning model. Exactly the same company, DeepSeek and Alibaba. DeepSeek with R1 and Alibaba with their QWQ model. Now the third generation are the AI agents. So OpenAI was the first mover in theory, because they have a tool that is called Operator that nobody has seen yet. I mean, a few people are testing. They call it the Red Team. So they have like their own, I would say, internal users, internal community. And they've been testing OpenAI Operator that is promised to be extremely efficient into deep research, deep reasoning. So way much more than a reasoning model. They have multimodal, can access different types of tools and execute tasks. But it has not been released to the public. So in theory, they were the first mover. Unfortunately for them, the demonetization happened even before they released it, because Manus has been released. And Manus has been released at a cost that is really a fragment of what OpenAI had published. OpenAI had published, it wasn't very clear, but they published a tentative price of $20,000 per month for what they call a PhD capable AI agent. They will have definitely to review their strategy, because Manus now is available at $39 per month with limited number of credits, but this is still a very, very good value for money in regards of all the use case that we can cover. So what sets Manus apart? So the replay function I already mentioned is great for marketing, great for training, and also great for continuous improvement, because I can go back to a previous task and I can look at how Manus has been executing it and what type of mistakes I would be able to eliminate from the processing by changing the original prompt. It sets it apart also by its simplicity. It's really breaking down complex tasks in to-do lists. So you can see from the screenshot on the side, the right part of the screen is a to-do list that Manus generated for a branding use case. So from a question, request, or task that I give it, Manus creates its own to-do list, and then step by step, item by item, the execution become atomic, and it's a very, very good way to plan, execute, and summarize the result. Manus is transparent, so on the right side, what you see as a to-do list, that right side of the screen is what they call the Manus's computer. So Manus's computer is everything that Manus is doing in the background. The left side is what is reserved for the communication with the user. So the Manus computer, you can actually close it and just wait for Manus to be done with the task or to prompt out a question, or you can open it and see what Manus is doing in real time. If you want to be efficient and you use an AI agent, my advice is that you fire and forget. You let it run, and then you don't need to worry about it. You come back from time to time to see, is it done? If it's not done, you come back later. If there's a question, you answer it, and you absolutely can do something else. It's kind of autonomous driving for a computer. Yeah. And finally, it's a bit technical, but the fact that Manus has its own computer, it means that there is what we call isolation of processing. Manus is using its computer. That means it's not using my computer with all the risks that are associated to everything that is on my computer, all the passwords and all the access that are open and everything. I don't want Manus to behave like an RPA, or robot process automation, and manipulate my computer. So these are the great advantages of Manus. That makes it such a popular tool and made it so popular so fast. So now let's move into the use cases. With the time we have, we should be able to cover. We think we should be able to cover 3 use cases. So I want to cover the use cases that the people who are here online today really want to see. So either scan the QR code that you can see on the screen, or click on the link that we post in the chat, and then rank your top 2, top 3 use cases, so I can show you the one that you are interested in. Yeah. So I'll give you a few minutes to select them. We don't give a lot of information. We give. I want to keep an element of surprise of what Manus can do. So based on your interest, on what you do and what you want to do with Manus, please select the one that is most interesting to you. So let's see the result coming in. Branding, newsletter, mascot weakness. Okay. Branding seems to be a popular topic. Sales, that's interesting as well. Data science, marketing, customer journey. So by the way, don't worry about the other one, the one we are not going to cover today. We are recording video of each one of them. And the one we cannot cover today, we'll cover in the following weeks and publish it in our YouTube channels. We will give you the access to the YouTube channel at the end of the presentation. So that's 13. Right, let's go up to 20. Another 6 people, please give us your preference. So this webinar is really for you. 15. All right, 5 more, and we can start. Okay, anyway, I will start with the top 2, and I will come back after to see if the numbers have changed. So branding. So this on the left side are all the tasks that I've executed with Manus. So new brand name. Yeah. So that was the original one. This use case is about us looking for a new name for our company because System in Motion, the name is kind of generic and it's more rooted in our origin of working on information system and I would say classic IT and want something that reflects a little bit more our AI background and our AI services. So this is the prompt that I gave to Manus. This prompt existed before. This is a prompt that is part of our AI training that we use with classic text model and with reasoning model. So this time we are sending it with Manus. So Manus is just using LLM, creating its to-do list so we can have a look at the to-do list. So it has identified the various steps that it needs to go through. So this is actually very similar to a reasoning model. And then it will put a check at everyone it does it. So this one is quite simple, and Manus is happy with its results. Generated 20 brands, and now I can have access to the list of brands. So Manus has completed a nicely formatted table for me with these names. These names are not very good. These names are like English words put together like quantum shift, elevate AI, mansphere, transform AI. So they're not really, really good. Yeah. And this is what you get from a text model or reasoning model. You get brands that are not really brands. Yeah. But the main problem of these, although they're not very good, some company are already using it. Yeah. And the proof is that I ask AI, check the availability of those brands for domain registration. So let's say I want to call my company Visionary AI. Can I buy the domain name? Because I want to create the website, I want my emails, etc., etc. So now Manus is doing something completely different. It's building its ability via system and programming to go and check the availability of the domain. So now we're not using generative AI anymore. Now Manus is using one of those many tools and doing programming by itself. After that, it's giving me a report and telling me, in summary, okay, none of all the domains have been registered. That's why I said there are already companies who use those names. They are names that are available as tld.tech.io, and these are the brand names that are available in more than one domain name, and then domain termination. And here is the complete list details. Yeah. So this one is already something additional that the first and second generation AI cannot do. It's combine AI ability of understanding what needs to be done, creating a to-do list, going and searching availability of domain names. As a user, I'm not happy. I say, no, I want a .com domain. What should we do? In that case, Manus is going through an exploration phase, exploring different options, and it's giving me four ways of going forward. So there, Manus will pause, will stop, and will not continue until I give a choice. So I choose, okay, I like number 3. I want entirely new brand name, and I'm adding also that I want neologism. So neologism, they are not existing in the English words. They are words that don't exist. So now Manus is coming with a neologism strategy. So it's kind of fitting itself into what are those tasks, and then creating new names. Those names are actually better. They are better because they're not based on full words. They are based on more on syllables. They are more like merging concept, and they are actually better than the first round. And then based on that, I say, okay, you can start. And now it's going through the domain verification again, and it's telling me, okay, you have these 4 domain names that are available. You can buy them as .com, and this is the rationale behind all these names. Where do these syllables come from? What does that brand represent to somebody who doesn't know what the company is doing? And finally, we have the final recommendation with those 4 names. It goes back to brand alignment because in our original prompt we gave all our brand elements, and it's quite expensive. It's extensive. Yeah. So that's it. And that's how you can use Manus for branding, for exploration, and combining both the design and the verification. Customer journey. So now let's look at the second one, at customer journey. So customer journey design, this one is based on our own customer journey, on our own types of customers and what they do. So this one, they are existing prompts from our for our mastery training. So it's also part of our AI training. But in our AI training, we use what we call prompt chaining, meaning we execute the first one. From the result of the first prompt, we execute the second one, and so on and so on. So this is a very I would say time incentive process, although it's already widely accelerated by the usage of generative AI. But we still need the user in front of the screen to go and prompt and make decision between these prompts. For Manus, that's not at all what we did. We said, all right, that's it. This is the first prompt. This is the second prompt. This is how you change them. This is the third prompt. And these are in our variables. So our variables are, again, core values, mission, products, the core customer, and the market we put as the target market, Hong Kong. The first thing that Manus does is Manus is like, okay, I have some questions. So one of the core value is not so clear. What does it mean? All right. And then we've listed the product just by names. What are they? Give us more details. Hong Kong, etc., etc. So I'm answering one question, thinking that, okay, that should be enough. Manus is like, great, thank you for your answer, but I still have 4 questions. All right. Now I answer all 4 questions, and now I don't need to look at it anymore. Manus will create its to-do list, which is even more extensive than the previous one, identifying the customer segment, identifying the persona in each segment, creating a journey for each persona of each segment, and then creating an email for overcoming the major objection for each one of these steps. Yeah. So Manus works for quite a long time to generate all these elements, chain them, and finally produce at the end a comprehensive customer journey analysis. So this is still displayed online, but Manus has the ability to generate a PDF from that. And when we generate a PDF from this output, it generates a 59-page PDF. I talked about cost earlier. So now that Manus has introduced paid model, we can understand and we can calculate the cost of this particular task. So this particular task cost us $1.5 American dollars. So we can generate a 59-page document by having a good prompt at the beginning, spending $1.5 of technology of computing on Manus, and we have a very, very comprehensive customer journey, complete, well-written, capture in a 59-page document. Yeah. So this is where we see the power of automation and decision, because there are some decisions hidden somewhere in between these processes that in the past were supposed to be done by human, and there's a very high level of consistency between the various steps. So this was for customer journey design. Next one. So the next one you've chosen was finance, data visualization. All right. So for data visualization, we looked at AI models, and the way the AI models were captured by the industry and the major way that AI models are being compared are the benchmark. I showed you earlier the benchmark, the GAIA benchmark that compares the AI agents with each other. So we found that it's an interesting index, and it's definitely very interesting for the AI industry because they all compete on that index. But it's not the one that companies are interested about. Companies are not interested into pure performance. Companies are interested into ROI, return on investment. So we did that a while ago, as you can see, 19 days ago, because we realized that what we really wanted to do was the ratio of performance divided by cost. Yeah. And in most of those benchmarks, like this one, the LLM stats, there are 2 columns. There's one column for performance, in that case, the GPQA, which is one of the major AI benchmark, and there's another column that computes cost, an average cost of using the LLM. So this is what we asked Manus to do. So please divide the performance by the cost. and put it on a graph with the horizontal axis being the release date of the major LLM. So Manus is writing its own code, looking for information on the internet on the release date, creating its own reference data, and create a first visualization, which we can open here. And it shows us actually what we were looking for, that OpenAI is what we call the state of the art, so have a very high level of performance, but they cost so much that when you divide, so the GPQA here, divide by the average cost, you have a way better ROI with DeepSeek R1 than you have with OpenAI O1 or O1 Preview. This was what we're looking for. So we are that kind of confirm our hypothesis. Yeah. But the problem is that here I don't have so many models. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And in that benchmark that I gave at the beginning, the LLM stats, I have way much more models than that. They have like almost 30 models. So I complain to Manus. I say, okay, where's Grok? Where is Gemini? Where is Phi? Because Phi is also from Microsoft, is also quite cheap. And Llama, they are missing. Add them. So very diligent AI. Okay, now it's adding the other models. So now it looks more complete. But there are still more than that. So I'm asking Manus again. Make sure you include every model there. All right. So doing it again, doing the visualization. But now I have these models there that looks really weird. And I'm not sure about this one, especially O3, because the cost is super high. I have those models right at the bottom. So I realize something is wrong and I may not have given the right instruction. And then when I go back and really advise you to read everything that Manus is writing, it's telling me that, okay, if I have both the score and the pricing, I position to their efficiency metrics. If I have a price and no score, I put them at the bottom of the chart and so on. So this is what's happening. Actually, these models that are here, they are not positioned properly because either we're missing the price or we're missing the performance. So this is not at all Manus's fault. I force it into making that mistake. And as every AI, it's trying to comply and it's trying to tell me what I want to say. Yeah. So after that, I decided to change the reference, and especially I decided to give it a reference so I give it another benchmark, and I also decided to give it a reference for the release date to make sure that it's coming appropriately. Yeah. And then I make other mistakes. Long story short, I correct everything. I come out with my final prompt. So if I have to do again, and I will probably do it again in a few weeks, I will use this prompt. I kind of put everything back together and say, okay, this is the right way of asking this question. I made mistakes in the way I'm doing it. I'm still learning how to use Manus. So next time I will use this prompt if I want to generate my graph anymore. And now I have the final graph, and the final graph tells me that, yes, DeepSeek has a very high ROI, but QWQ, which was released later, has a better one. So is Reka, and Gemini is even better. So now I've learned something, and I've been able, thanks to Manus, to plot this graph that is not accessible on the internet. Yeah. So these are the 3 use cases that I wanted to show. If you want more use cases, you can go to our YouTube channel. We release more of them. And if you don't have access to YouTube, we also release them in Bilibili. In conclusion, we are still working on Manus, and we will continue to explore. So prompt technique, prompt engineering is still the key, and the art of prompt is still extremely important to get results with this third generation AI with AI agents. It's better to provide the data or the data source, or give very specific instruction. When Manus is left by itself to find information, sometimes it doesn't come out right. Save your prompt, improve your prompt. As we saw in the different one, I made several mistakes, but now I have a good prompt that I can use later on. Something we haven't seen in those use cases is that Manus is stopped by CAPTCHA. So when Manus encounters a CAPTCHA, he will try to go through it, and the CAPTCHA, Manus being a robot, it's stopped by the CAPTCHA, which is normal, and then it's letting the user take over. But even that way, I was not able to get to the CAPTCHA. We have not so far been able to call APIs with Manus. On paper, it's possible because it has the ability to create its own code. And finally, The final word is that a year and a half ago, when GPT 3.5 was released, a lot of very, very big consulting companies said that knowledge worker would be able to save 30% of productivity. It was not true. It was not true with first generation AI. It's also not true with second generation AI. Now with Manus, we see it possible. Now I've been able to save an hour here, 2 hours there by refining my prompt. And those prompts, they cost between $3 and $5 of computing power. Thank you very much for your attention and participation. Hope to see you next at our AI Leadership Forum, and have a great day, and see you soon for more use case on AI and empowering knowledge worker. Thank you.